Hey guys, in this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about Ostomy accessory belts. Stay tuned. Okay, so Ostomy accessory belts. This is probably one of the first accessories you'll run into as a new ostomate, and the primary purpose is to add extra support to your appliance. Now, for most people who empty their bags before it gets to about a third full, this isn't usually something that's required. However, if you have a high output stoma or even something like a urostomy bag, then these tend to be helpful. Now keep in mind that these are meant to attach to specific bags that have belt loops. Not all bags have belt loops, although most, if not all, two-piece systems will. One-piece systems don't tend to have these belt loops because the whole idea of these is to support your bag from actually coming off. So as you can see, I've got a couple of different styles of accessory belts. This one here is by Hollister. This one is a New Hope belt, and it's quite a different design, which I'll talk to you about. And they all essentially function the same way. So you'll notice here on this Hollister bag, you have belt tabs. Now these belt tabs are where your accessory belt is going to attach to. And they come off and go on pretty easily. And you'll usually do this when the bag is already on you, but you can see here how it's nice and secure. And that adds a bit of pressure, again, keeping that bag closer to your skin. If it gets heavy, it's not going to be weighing down and pulling on your wafer or anything like that. Now you'll notice this other bag here. This is actually a product by Bebron. You'll notice that the belt tabs are a little bit different. And if you try using the Hollister accessory belt on a Bebron bag, it doesn't necessarily work that well. So you do have to be aware that certain manufacturers will have very specific accessory belts made for their own appliances, and you should probably stick with the one that's made for your brand. The good news is accessory belts tend to be pretty cheap. For the most part, you're looking at $10 to $15. And that could be Canadian or US, they're not that expensive. And also insurance tends to cover these. Now, this one here is a product by New Hope. It's called the New Comfort Belt, and I actually do have a full review on this. But this is actually meant to be a universal product. So what does that mean? Well, regardless of the fact that you may or may not have belt tabs on your specific bag, this is meant to go over pretty much any bag, and it adds support right over the entire flange, not just on the ends. Now that has its own advantages, which I've talked about in depth in my review, but this is also a product to consider if you're looking for better support. Now, accessory bands can be mixed and matched with certain accessories. As an example, some stoma guards actually require a band like this in order for them to function and support themselves. So in some cases, you'll get the best of both worlds there. You'll get that support and you'll get the impact resistance. But keep in mind, again, this isn't a necessary product if you're not having challenges with your bag being super heavy all the time. Now, if you're an ostomate who wears convex appliances, you should really be warned that some of these accessory belts may cause problems for you, especially if you're keeping them tight. Because of the way convex appliances tend to apply a bit more pressure around your stoma, adding an accessory belt may apply too much pressure, which ends up resulting in pressure sores. It's important to note that if you are wearing a convex appliance, make sure that you speak to your stoma nurse before wearing an accessory belt. And regardless of whether or not you have a convex appliance, never over tighten these belts. What tends to happen if you over tighten is that you may develop pressure sores or other kind of irritation. But also, if you have a belt tab on the side like this and it's putting a lot of pressure like that, it'll actually develop this situation where you might actually detach the bag without even knowing. So keep that in mind when you're wearing an accessory belt. Don't make it too tight. One of my stoma nurses says, as a general rule, make sure you can stick 2 fingers in between the belt and your skin, and that should be more or less the right tension. So tell me, do you guys wear an accessory belt? Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what brand you use. Let me know if it's helped you in any way. I'm really curious to know. And like always, stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.